Hello, in this video I will give you some practical and useful examples that utilize the function that we had learned so far. Also, I will give you a couple of more useful tips. Let's assume that you have a table like this with the items in one column and their prices we're just putting as random numbers, and then we have their quantities. If you want to calculate the total value of the items, you can do one extra column, total value, and we do the multiplication of unit price into the quantity. Then we copy the formula, then we sum total, so this is our total. You can do this in a simpler way by using the sum product function. What it does is exactly what we have done. Sum product, it says array 1, then array 2, then array 3. Array here we'll use a column. Array 1 is the prices, then array 2 is the quantity, and we close bracket and give us the exact same value instead of adding column. How will this be useful? We will see in the next example. Let's say we want to add more columns that shows like interim deliveries of the items. Delivery 1, delivery 2, and so on. Delivery 3 and so on. Okay, so example here we have delivered 10. I'm just putting random numbers, 50, 100, 2, 300, 100, 4, 500, 10, 99. So instead of multiplying and adding an extra column for each of these deliveries, we can use the sum product, prices in the array of the deliveries, and we have this interim value. Then we copy this formula here, and it will give us zeros because we don't have values here. But if we just put random numbers here, we'll see there's a problem here because this should not come to this number. Why this happened? Because when we copied this formula here, we did not use the correct references. So look at the value here is this delivery into the total quantity, which is incorrect, which what we want is to multiply it by the prices. So to solve this issue, we will come back to our formula and we will use the correct reference, which is an absolute reference for the prices column. And when we copy it to the other cells, it will give us the correct value. and we can use any other number. And so on. Let's just make it simpler. We'll remove these four. Let's say that you have another table like this here, and then you have a third one here, which was different item, of course. Here we'll make it item 9, item 10, and we'll continue the series. Here we'll make it item 17, item 18, and we'll make it continue the series. So if you want to make like the grand total here of columns above, what we can do is we can simply equal this cell plus this cell plus this cell equal, and if you copy all of these here, it will work fine. But what if we have like 10 of these tables, or 20, or even 30 of these tables with all subtotals, and you want to calculate the grand total? How you will make sure that you are referencing all the correct cells? To make it in a correct way, an efficient way, we can use the earlier discussed function, which is the SUMIF equal SUMIF range. We'll select this range, then the criteria is total, and then we'll put the sum range as this range here. So it's copied, calculate the correct way. Let's do, to verify, let's do it the manual way. Equal this plus this equal, and we will just copy the formula here, and this is correct. And if we copy this formula here, it will not work, of course, because we haven't set the correct references, and we want to make an absolute reference to this column so that it will calculate the totals. And when we copy it, it will give us the correct calculation. So this will make it easier and more accurate for you if you have more subtotals that you want to calculate into a grand total. Here's a small useful tip. Let's say that you receive an Excel sheet from a friend or a colleague, and you are confused about the sheet and the calculation, and you spend a lot of time trying to understand the calculation and track the references. Well, to save your time, Excel has a great function that will help you in this. If you go to Formula tab and click on the Show Formulas, Excel will show you all the cells that has formulas and show you the formula as a whole. So you know that the calculation is done in these formulas only. So you can track it easily from that. And then you click it again, and it's hidden again. It's back to your normal calculation. Also, let's say that you want to know which cells affect the selected cell. Let's assume that if we want to know what affects this cell, so we will select our cell, and then we click on the trace precedence, and it will show us that this cell is affected by this column and this column. We can click remove arrows and it will be gone. Then we can do and check the opposite of this. If we want to know the cells affected by changing the value of the active selected cell, so we select our active cell, and we click on trace dependence, and it will show us that all these cells here are affected by this cell here. So anytime we change the value here, all these will be affected. And again, we can remove the arrows from here. Hope that these are useful information, and wait for further videos with more details and tips.